Back in January, this site won Site of the Day on Awwwards, and it's been on my to-do list ever since. It had some really cool animations, but what really impressed me was this particular scroll experience. It felt unique, something I hadn't built before, so I knew I had to give it a try. As you can see, there is a lot happening all at once. When you scroll, the section gets pinned and each image is revealed with these really sleek strip-style clip mask animations while the image zooms out at the same time. You'll also notice that the text animates in sync with the images one after the other. Now, honestly, putting this all together seemed a bit intimidating at first, and that's probably why I kept avoiding it. But last weekend, I finally sat down with it and I was able to recreate a very similar animation using GSAP and ScrollTrigger. I could have added all the text elements too, but that would have made this video way too long, so I kept the focus on the core parts. I focused mainly on the clip path animation, syncing the strips with scroll, adding the image scale transition, and animating the key text element, which I think covers all the essentials. If you find this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could drop a like on the video and subscribe as well. It really helps the channel grow and helps my content reach more people. And if you are interested in getting the source code, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. Alright, let's jump into the code. Let's start with the HTML structure. First, I'm adding a simple navbar with a logo and a few placeholder links. This is mainly to help balance the layout visually, so feel free to skip this part if you don't need to. Next, we'll set up the three main sections. We'll start with the intro section, where I've added a heading with some placeholder text. Then comes the most important part, the sticky slider section. This section is split into two parts, one for the images and one for the text content. In the slide images container, I am adding a single image wrapped in a div with the class image and a unique ID. This is where we'll load the rest of the images dynamically using JavaScript later on. Next up, we have the slide info container, which holds all the text that syncs with the image scroll. It's divided into three parts, the prefix, the main title, and the link. I'm using paragraph elements for both the prefix and the title, and a simple anchor tag for the link. We'll animate the title using GSAP, and we'll also dynamically update the text and the link based on which image is currently active. And finally, there is the outro section. Just like the intro, it has a heading with some dummy text to close out the layout. That's pretty much it for the basic HTML structure. We'll bring it all to life with styling and animations next. First up, you can see I've already imported the new Montreal font. I'm resetting the default styles, removing margin and padding, and setting box sizing to border box for everything. For the body, I've applied the custom font. The image is set to take up the full width and height with object fit cover, so the image always stays nicely framed. I've also added a subtle transform transition. We'll use these later for the zoom out effect on scroll. Now for the nav, it's fixed on the top, full width with some padding and spacing between elements using flexbox. This just gives the layout a bit of structure. Next, I'm styling the text elements. They all get a white color, clean font smoothing, tight line height, and slightly reduced letter spacing for a modern look. Headings are given an indent and a large font size to create a bold, editorial style layout. Then for the section elements, each section takes up the full viewport width and height with padding and hidden overflow to keep things neat. For the intro and outro sections, I'm using flexbox to center the content horizontally and align it at the bottom. Background is set to a dark color to help the white text pop. Now the slider section. Everything inside it, like the slide images, image container, and strip, is positioned absolutely and stretched to full size. Just a quick note here, image container and strip aren't in HTML yet. We'll be adding those dynamically with JavaScript a bit later when we set up the image animations and the mask effect. Next, the slide info container sits vertically centered using translate Y and stretches across the screen with some side padding. I've also added a faint bottom border just to visually anchor the layout. Inside it, all child elements flex equally, but the slide title takes up more space to accommodate the text. The text inside this section gets a larger font size and is optimized for smooth transform based animations since we'll be animating them in and out as the user scrolls. The slide title container itself is hidden with overflow hidden, so we can animate the text using a clip path reveal. Finally, there is a responsive tweak at the bottom. On smaller screens, we reduce font sizes, hide the text prefix for simplicity, and tighten up the spacing so the layout still feels balanced. And that wraps up the CSS. With this, we have got a clean foundation in place for all scroll triggered animations coming up. Before we jump into the main JavaScript logic, I have created a separate file called slides.js. This file simply holds the content for our slides, things like the title, image, and link for each one. We have an array called slides, and each project inside it represents one slide. All of this is exported from the file so we can import it into our main script file and use this data to build out the image layers and text dynamically inside the DOM. Now let's dive into the JavaScript. First, I'm importing everything we need for this project. We are bringing in our slides data from the slides.js file along with GSAP, ScrollTrigger, and Elementis for smooth scrolling. Don't forget to register the ScrollTrigger plugin with GSAP, which I'm doing right after the imports. Then I'm wrapping everything in a DOM content loaded event listener to make sure our code doesn't run until the page is fully loaded. For smooth scrolling, I'm using Elementis, which is my go-to library for adding smooth scroll. It creates that buttery smooth scroll experience that really elevates the whole animation. The setup is pretty straightforward. This helps keep our animations precisely in sync with the scroll position. Next, I grab the elements we'll need to manipulate, the container for all our slide images, the title text element that we'll be animating, and the explore link that will update for each slide. Then I define some important variables. Total slides is just the number of slides we have from our data file. Strips count is set to 25. This determines how many horizontal strips we'll use for our reveal animation. I'm also setting up a few variables to keep track of the current state of our animations. Current title index keeps track of which title is currently showing. Queued title index will help us manage transitions. Title change threshold determines when during the scroll to trigger the title change, and his animating flag helps prevent animations from overlapping. Finally, I grab the first image that's already in the HTML and set its scale to 1.25. This creates our starting state where the image is slightly zoomed in, ready to zoom out as we scroll. Now that we have all our setup done, let's move on to dynamically creating the image strips for our animation. I'm looping through all the slides, starting from the second one at index 1. That is because the first slide is already in our HTML, so we only need to create elements for the remaining slides. For each slide, I create a container div with the class image container and give it a unique ID. I'm also setting its opacity to 0 initially since we don't want to show it until we scroll to it. Next, I create the horizontal strips that will reveal each image piece by piece. Remember that we earlier set strips count variable to 25. Now I'm creating exactly that many strips with a nested loop. For each strip, I make a new div element with the class strip, and inside it I place new image element with the source and all text from our slides data. I set each new image's scale to 1.25 so it starts zoomed in and can animate outward as we scroll. Now for the clip path, this is where all the magic happens. Its strip needs to show just a horizontal slice of the full image. First, I calculate the strip's position from the bottom up since we want the reveal to happen from bottom to top. Then I figure out the upper and lower boundaries for the strip as percentages. Using these boundaries, I set a polygon clip path that creates a thin horizontal slice. The 0.1% subtraction is to avoid tiny gaps between strips during animation. After creating its strip, I add it to the image container, and once all strips are done for a slide, I add that container to our main slides images element. With all the visual elements in place, I need to define how scrolling will map to our animations. First, I calculate how many transitions we need. That's one less than the total number of slides. Then I define some key values. Scroll distance per transition is set to 1000, which determines how much you need to scroll to go from one slide to next. I'm using viewport height units here. I also add some delays at the beginning and end. The initial scroll delay and the final scroll delay, both set to 300. This gives us a little breathing room before the first transition starts and after the last one ends. The total scroll distance adds all these up, all transitions plus both delays. Next, I create an array to store details about each transition range. This will help us map scroll position to animation progress later. Starting from the initial delay position, I loop through each transition and calculate its start and end points, both as absolute viewport heights and as percentages of the total scroll distance. all this gets pushed into our transition ranges array, which will be our reference for figuring out exactly how far into each transition the user has scrolled. This is basically creating a roadmap for our animations, so we know precisely when to trigger each state for the reveal effect. Now I need to create a couple of helper functions that will translate our scroll position into actual animation values. First up is the calculate image progress function. This is really important because it converts the raw scroll progress, which is just a percentage from 0 to 1, into a more useful value that represents how far we are through the entire image sequence. Let me start with a couple of edge cases. If we haven't reached the first transition yet, we return 0, meaning we are still on the first image. And if we have scrolled past the last transition, we return the length of our transition ranges, meaning we are fully on the last image. For everything in between, I loop through each transition range and check if the current scroll progress falls within that range. When it does, I calculate a normalized progress value between 0 and 1 for just that specific transition. I then combine the transition index with this normalized progress to get a decimal value. For example, if we are halfway through the second transition, this would return 1.5. This gives us a smooth progress value across all of our transitions. If we have already passed a transition completely, I just set the progress to the next whole number, meaning we have finished that transition. Next, I've created the getScaleForImage function to handle the zoom out effect for each image. This function takes 3 parameters: the index of the image we are calculating for, the index of the current image that's actively transitioning, and how far we are through that transition. If the image is ahead of our current transition, it returns 1.25, the full zoom in scale, because we haven't started transitioning it yet. If the image is more than one step behind our current transition, it returns 1, the full zoom out scale, because we have already completed its transition. For the interesting cases, the current image being transitioned and the one just before it, I calculate a progressive scale value. The current image scales down as we progress through its transition, and the previous image finishes scaling down as we begin the current one. These two functions might seem complex, but they are the secret to making everything feel smooth and synchronized with scroll. They convert raw scroll position into precise animation values that create that satisfying reveal effect. Next up, I need to handle the text animation. The animate title change function is responsible for that nice slide in, slide out effect you see with the titles. First, I do some quick checks. If the requested index is same as the current one, we don't need to do anything. If the index is out of bounds, we also return early. Then there is a key check. Is an animation already in progress? If so, I don't want to interrupt it. That would look jumpy. Instead, I store the requested index in the queued title index so we can handle it once the current animation completes. If we are good to go, I set his animating flag to true and grab the new title and URL from the slides data. The direction parameter tells us whether the user is scrolling down or up, so we can animate accordingly. If they are scrolling down, the current title slides up and out, and the new one slides up and in from below. For scrolling up, it's the reverse. Before starting the animation, I kill any existing twins on the title element. This prevents animation conflicts if the user scrolls rapidly. I also update the explores link href immediately so it always points to the correct page. Now for the actual animation, using GSAP, I animate the current title out in the appropriate direction. Once that's complete, I change the text content to the new title, position it off screen in the opposite direction, and then animate it back to the center. When everything is done, I update the current title index, set is animating back to false, and check if there is a queued animation waiting. If there is, I trigger that one right away. This handles cases where user scrolls quickly through multiple slides. The getTitleIndexForProgress function determines when to trigger these title changes. It takes our image progress value and figures out which title should be showing. I split the progress into two parts, the whole number part and the decimal part. If the decimal progress is above our title change threshold, which we set to 0.5 earlier, we show the next title, otherwise we stick with the current one. This creates a nice effect where the title changes halfway through each image transition rather than right at the beginning or end. Finally, I initialize last image progress to keep track of the scroll direction. We'll use this in the main scroll event to determine if the user is scrolling up or down. With these functions in place, our title animations will sync perfectly with the image transition, creating that cohesive professional effect we are going for. Now we come to the most important part of our code, the ScrollTrigger setup that ties everything together and makes the animation respond to scrolling. Let me create a new ScrollTrigger instance. First, I set up trigger to sticky slider, which is our main section containing all the images and the text. The start is set to top means the animation triggers when the top edge of our section hits the top of the viewport. For the end point, I'm using a calculated total scroll distance variable with viewport height units. This creates a scroll distance much longer than the actual height of the section, which gives us room for all our animation stages. The pin is set to true. It makes our section stick to the screen while the user scrolls down. I've also set pin spacing to true, which automatically adds space after our section to accommodate the extended scroll distance we defined in the end parameter. The scrub 1 creates a small delay between the scrolling and the animation update. Now for the heart of our animation, the onUpdate callback. This function runs on every scroll update, and it's where we calculate and apply all our animation effects. First, I take the raw scroll progress from ScrollTrigger and pass it to calculate image progress function. This gives us a more useful value that represents our position through the entire image sequence. I do a quick type check to make sure we got a valid number back, then determine if the user is scrolling up or down by comparing the current progress to the last progress we stored. I also split the image progress into two components. Current image index is the whole number part and image specific progress is the decimal part. Next, I figure out which title should be showing using our getTitleIndex for progress function. If it's different from the current title, I set it up to be animated. Note that I am not right away calling animate title change. I am first checking if we are already in the middle of a title animation to avoid interruptions. Now let's handle the image animations. Starting with the first image that was already in our HTML, I calculate its scale using getScale for image and apply it directly. This creates that smooth zoom out effect as we scroll. Then comes the main loop where I handle all the dynamically created images. For each one, I first convert between different indexing systems. The loop uses I starting from 1, but our transition indexes start from 0. The slide offset needs to be accounted for. I find the image container element using its ID and make sure it exists before proceeding. I set its opacity to 1 to make it visible since we initially created it with opacity 0. Now I grab all the strip elements and image elements inside this container so I can animate them. Here is where I have 3 different cases for handling the strips depending on where this image is in our sequence. The first case is if this image's transition is already complete, I set all its strips to show their full height. Each strip uses clip path with precise percentage values to show exactly its portion of the image. The second case is if this is the image we are currently transitioning to, I animate each strip individually. This is where the staggered reveal happens. I calculate each strip's position and boundaries. Then I create a small delay for each strip based on its position so they don't all animate at the same time. I adjust the progress for each strip, accounting for its delay and doubling the speed for a snappier effect. Finally, I calculate and set a new clip path that progressively reveals each strip from a thin line to its full height. If this is a future image we haven't reached yet, I set all its strips to show just their bottom edge as a thin line. This effectively hides the image until we scroll to it. After handling the strips, I update the scale of all images in this container based on our getScale for image function. This ensures each image zooms out smoothly as we transition to it. Finally, I update the last image progress variables to store our current position for the next scroll update, and that was it. This is definitely one of the more complex animations to implement, but breaking it down step by step like this hopefully makes it clearer how all the pieces work together. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.